Last week I made a video where I talked about the best watches under certain price points from $100 up to $500. And a lot of the watches that I mentioned in that video were somewhat common watches that I think a lot of other YouTubers and websites would choose to put in a video like that. I did get some comments from some people saying, hey, Chris, this is not your normal video. Where are the odd watches? So I took that challenge and I have come up with a new list for this week of watches under $200 that are very out of the ordinary. I have 10 watches to talk about. All of them you can get for under $200, either new or on the gray market. So without further ado, let's talk about my first pick on the affordable, obscure, and under $200. First watch on this list, and this list is in no particular order, is one of the cheaper watches on this list. It actually sells on eBay for around $50 up to around $100. It's from a brand that actually has a pretty cool heritage. It's Chronofix. If you don't know who Chronofix were, they were one of the producers of the Type 20, along with Breguet and Airn, another brand that is on this list actually. However, they were bought and sold many, many times, and recently they've come out with a quartz GMT that's called the Sumarine, and it's actually a really good-looking watch that gets some pretty cool functionality. It's a Swiss-made GMT movement that's inside. It's an ETA movement. It is a quartz movement. However, you can get these really cheap on the secondary market. Originally, the MSRPs were in the $300 to $400 range, I believe. I think the company liquidated their stock of these watches and they flooded the market. And of course, they sold for incredible prices, and they are still selling for very good prices. You get these on a bracelet for around $100. If you want it on a strap, you can get them for around $50. Pretty good looking watch considering, and it's a world timer. It gets that Swiss quartz GMT. They come in at 42 millimeters. It's stainless steel. You get a sapphire crystal, and you're getting 100 meters of water resistance. So this is actually a very, very good everyday watch with a GMT function, with a world time bezel for around 50 bucks. Much like the Chronofix that I just mentioned, I featured this watch on my channel. I featured that Chronofix on my channel as well. The Airn is a watch that I bought a few times. I bought it for around $90. It's a chronograph, and again, this is a brand that's been bought and sold a number of times. Recently, they've been bought again, and the brand that owns them now, I believe, is associated with a few other brands, and they've been making more higher-end versions of the Airn Type 20. Now, this is a Type 20. This is actually branded an Airn Type 20, but technically, it's not exactly like the original. They've come out with ones that look a lot more like the original. These are a little bit beefed up when compared to the original. But again, you're getting a sapphire crystal. You're getting 100 meters of water resistance. You're getting a bi-directional bezel on this. They come in at 43 millimeters. So this is a large watch. You actually get a pretty nice bracelet, and you're getting a mecha quartz movement inside. So you're getting a sweep second. You actually get this in a really nice case for around $90. Right now, they're a little bit inflated on eBay, but I keep on seeing these sell for around $100 and going up to around $200. So definitely check out eBay. Keep an eye on the auctions there. You can get these for under $200 very easily. And I think they're really good looking watches. If you don't mind a 43 millimeter chronograph, which wears like a 43 or 44 millimeter watch, you will definitely like these watches. Like I said, I've owned two, and I think they are fantastic. The next watch on this list is another watch that I absolutely love, and it's a watch that nobody ever suggests in any video, anywhere. I'm not sure why. It is the Waterberry dive style watch from Timex. They did a collaboration with Hodinkee. I actually would choose that version over all of them. I own two versions of this watch. I own the Hodinkee one, and then I own the standard version. I think they're both really good looking watches, but that Hodinkee version is just a little bit nicer. That was a limited edition. They recently sold out of them. It took them about 2 years because they made about 10,000 of them in the limited edition. However, it's a really good looking watch with a black dial, a black bezel, very straightforward dive style watch. It gets 100 meters of water resistance. It doesn't get a sapphire crystal. It does get a mineral crystal. However, you get an automatic movement, and that automatic movement is a Miyota. It's an 8 series. You get a good looking watch that's very well made for under $200. You could buy these new, sometimes directly from Timex for under $200, but places like Joma Shop and Amazon have these for around $134 on a very regular basis. And by the way, the straps on these are made by an American brand that makes shoes. I believe they're called Red Wing, and they're really nice. Raw leather straps that break in really well. Fantastic straps that are made in the United States, alongside a really good looking dive style watch from Timex. I really don't think you can go wrong. These are great watches. And the next watch that I'll mention here actually isn't a watch. It's the Boliva Lunar Pilot clock. And they are actually on sale on the Citizen website or the Boliva website right now. They come in at $123. I had no idea this existed. I came across it randomly the other day. It's based on the 43 millimeter blue dial. Obviously, this is not a 43 millimeter clock. It's a wall clock, so it's large. It's a quartz clock. It has 3 different sub-registers. I have no idea if those sub-registers actually work, but with all that being said, the fact that it costs $123, all these other watches that you see on places like eBay, and I've seen them being sold in other places for around $1,000, this is a steal for $123. It's a beautiful clock. I think it's a really good looking clock, and it's based on the Lunar Pilot, which is, just a cool watch to begin with. Anyway, not a watch, really a clock, but $123. I did want to mention it here. I'm going to mention another Timex that is often overlooked, even by myself. I'm talking about the M79. There are so many different versions of the M79 available through Timex, through a bunch of different secondary resellers as well. You can get them for around $100 up to around $150, depending on the version. They come on a really great bracelet. You get an acrylic crystal bi-directional bezel. It's a dive style watch. I think they only get 50 meters of water resistance, and they're 40 millimeters, but they are automatic for a very, very good price from Timex for a watch on a bracelet that looks so good. I've always loved the Q Timex. They came out with the M79 because they wanted to come out with an automatic version of the Q Timex, and I think it really does work. It does get an 8 series Miyota movement again that hacks and hand winds. It's a great looking watch for a very, very good price. Definitely check out the M79 if you want something that is vintage looking, pretty well made, and an automatic. Next is a brand that I got hands-on with a few times, and a few people that I know actually have bought these watches. They're a brand called Lobini, and they are available on places like eBay, and there are a bunch of different prices on eBay, so you definitely need to shop around. However, they make homage watches to some very high-end watches. One of my favorites is an FP Journe-esque looking watch that costs around $200. It gets 2 sub-registers that are mother of pearl. This is an automatic watch. It gets a really nice case around 40 millimeters. These look like they cost thousands of dollars, but they don't. They actually cost in the $200 range, which is pretty incredible. You get display case backs, sapphire crystals, seagull movement. So the one that I was just talking about gets a seagull automatic movement. It has the month, the day, and the date. So it's basically a full calendar watch for around $200. They also make a large moon phase with stars and Breguet numerals. Sort of looks like a Patek Philippe. It is gorgeous. I really love these watches. And they also use the Hangzhou movement, which is the micro rotor movement that they came out with in China a few years ago. Really great movement. And if you want to watch around $200, $250, those are slightly more expensive. But if you don't mind a seagull movement, they are around $200 and under. The watches that I was just talking about, that moon phase and that full calendar, you can get those for around $130 to $170 on eBay anytime. The next watch on this list is probably the least obscure watch on this list. It is a Citizen. It's the Citizen ProMaster Dive Automatic. However, if you look around, the older versions, not the new versions with sapphire crystals, if you don't mind a mineral crystal, these watches sell for well under $200, around that $150 range. You're getting an automatic movement inside. Again, this is a Miyota 8 series. However, these usually don't hack or hand wind. However, with all of that being said, if you don't mind those downfalls of this watch, this is an incredible watch. It's an incredible dive watch. It's still ISO certified. It was back then. It still is now. It's a great looking everyday dive watch from Citizen that's really well made, that will last a lifetime. And it's a professional dive watch. These are actually very good looking watches that come in at around 42 millimeters with a mineral crystal. You get a unidirectional dive bezel. Pretty decent bracelets on these. Of course, you're not getting milled anything on this bracelet, but they are pretty decent, and they're around 42 millimeters. That 42 millimeters usually wears smaller because of their case designs, so it will probably wear around 40 millimeters on most wrists. It will feel like a 40 millimeter watch. Great, great watches at a very, very good price, and it's a Citizen. You really cannot go wrong. Very reliable. The next watch on this list is probably the most spec'd watch on this list for the price. It comes in at $154. It's titanium. It gets a sapphire crystal, a ceramic bezel. It gets 100 meters of water resistance. It comes on a bracelet or a strap. The bracelet is slightly more expensive, still under $200 though. And it gets an automatic movement, and it's a Seiko NH35. For $154, it's called the Bollinger Sea Turtle in titanium. It's a 40 millimeter dive style watch for an incredible price of $154. I featured it here on my channel. It also gets some pretty cool lume. There's some honeycomb patterns on certain dials that they do this on, and it actually glows pretty well, ironically, for this price. It is an incredible deal. I have no idea how they make these watches or how they cost so little, but considering you're getting a titanium watch with an NH35, sapphire crystal, and ceramic bezel, 100 meters of water resistance, really there's no watch on this list that's going to match those specs for $150 or around $150. Seriously, there's no watch out there that could match these specs. However, the next watch on this list also offers something very special, something that you usually find on a lot more expensive watches, and it comes in at $139. This is a jump hour watch from Swatch. I've actually featured two of these here on my channel, one with an aventurine dial and one with a pressed or a stamped guilloche dial. Both of these watches cost $139, and I have to say, they looked a lot more expensive than that price tag. They both had automatic movements, they were powered by Seagull movements, and they got a jump hour window right below the 12 o'clock. Really good looking watches and pretty well spec'd. They were on the smaller side, around 38 millimeters. These are truly a dress watch. You only get 50 meters of water resistance. I think my only complaint about the watch at this price point was the fact that it didn't come with a sapphire crystal. It has a mineral crystal. But again, at this price point, it is kind of forgivable. And then the jump hour window, the actual display for the hour, is a little bit small. That would be my only complaint. And the fact that I'm complaining about anything on a $139 jump hour watch that's automatic is pretty incredible. So I have to say, these are incredible bargains, and they're very good looking. Very good looking for that price. So we're down to the last two watches on this list, and one of these watches just blew me away, and it's a watch that I've always wanted to own. In fact, I borrowed one from Roman Sheriff a long time ago when he started carrying more affordable watches on his channel. It's a Citizen, and it's the Citizen Marine. I've never seen this dial though. It's the 1810 Eco Drive. It has a turquoise dial. This is a really good looking watch that kind of blew me away. I love these watches, and I've always loved these watches. They're very affordable. You can get them for around $130 to $150. They make ones with different colored dials. They make ones that are automatic as well, I believe. Recently, they started making some automatics. This is the Eco Drive. The Eco Drives are very, very affordable. You're getting a wave pattern dial. Now, they make this in a few different colors. I think that they make a dark blue dial, a gray dial, and both of those are fume, and you get that wave pattern as well. 100 meters of water resistance. These do get a mineral crystal. You get that Eco Drive movement because it is a solar powered watch. So that dial, that wave pattern dial, is actually a little solar panel, which I always think is so cool. It's 41 millimeters. The automatic version is an aqua blue version. I think they call it aqua blue. That one is the NJ017083X. That's also a really good looking watch, and it also comes in under $300. However, I really like the textured dial version. I would go for that version, and I would go for the Eco Drive because it's a solar watch, and I just really do enjoy a nice solar powered watch. These are fantastic, especially for the price. Last but not least, one of the best looking watches on this list, in my opinion, is Vescari. I have featured a few Vescari here on my channel, and they have sold out a lot of their stock of these watches, but recently they came out with a bi-compact version. I featured that watch here on my channel, and they are a Mecha Quartz chronograph. They get a domed boxed mineral crystal. So this is a K1 mineral crystal. It's a hardened mineral crystal, so it's very similar to a Hardlex. It's not the best crystal in the world. However, these watches do look a lot more expensive than they actually are. They come in at $150, and they sell for $150 on their website direct. So these are not on the gray market. These aren't used. These aren't on eBay. You can go to Vescari right now and buy these for $150. You get a sunburst dial. A lot of their dials have this sunburst pattern that's really bright, looks really, really good. And you get hand-applied polished markers on these. They're around 40 millimeters, and you get 100 meters of water resistance. They feature a Miyota movement inside, which is the 6S21. Fantastic watches, which I think look a lot more expensive than they actually are. Kind of remind me a little bit of a Timex Marlin chronograph. Also, these feel a little bit more expensive, I would say, than one of those. The bracelets are definitely nicer than what you would get from the Marlin. So if you like the bracelets, definitely go this way. Or if you want a nicer strap, definitely go with the Vescari. These are fantastic watches, again, for around $150. So there you go. These are some off the beaten path watches that I wanted to show you guys and talk about for under $200. I think I came up with a pretty good list. I gave you around 10 watches and a clock, which I don't know. I just wanted to throw that clock in there for $123. I'm definitely getting one, and it'll be on the wall very, very soon, maybe behind me, I don't know. A lot of the watches that I mentioned in this video, I've owned. So I do know a lot about these watches, and that's why I wanted to talk about them today. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. Are there any other off the beaten path watches that cost under $200 that you would choose, that are either new or on the gray market? Not used, new, or on the gray market, new. I'd like to hear from you guys. Tell me down in the comments section below. Please also don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. It's super helpful for the channel, and I very much appreciate it. Anyway, guys, thank you for logging on. Thank you for watching this video. I will catch you guys in the next video.